Okay, so Dr. Vargo, what are your degrees and credentials that gives you some extra background and knowledge regarding character development and training?
Well, I have many years of college, including a Bachelor of Science degree from Abilene Christian University in Abilene, Texas. I have 2 master's degrees from Pepperdine University, one in educational psychology and one in theology. And then I have a doctorate from Texas Tech University in educational administration. And I have all the credentials for teaching psychology, counseling, pupil personnel services, general, secondary.
What type of roles have you played in the educational field?
What kind of roles? Well, I've been a teacher for several years, science teacher. I've been a counselor. I've worked with divergent youth. I've worked with continuation high school students as a counselor, as an ROP counselor, regional occupational program counselor. And then I worked as an administrator with the schools, and in particular in American Samoa. And then I worked as an adjunct associate professor with Chapman University for 7 years.
Okay. All right. Can you describe your first experiences in education as that relates to character development?
Well, one of my earlier experiences was teaching school in Abilene, Texas, in the public schools. And I noticed that every morning they had Bible reading over the intercom. So every student was being given some character education background with biblical reading. And periodically they had prayers. They had prayers before the football games and the basketball games. Of course, that's all been taken away now.
What was the effect of that in the classroom?
Well, I had good students, and I think it contributed to a good character with the school, with the students in the school.
Okay, and what type of legislation occurred shortly thereafter that began to cause a paradigm shift in education?
Well, I think in the 60s we had a real paradigm shift in the field of education. I noticed it in particular after coming back from American Samoa, working as a school principal, and coming back to the school system in California. It was during this time that the Supreme Court took away Bible reading and prayer in the schools, and therefore subsequently character education, because there was no basis for character education when you take all those things out of there. And I noticed a real paradigm shift in the schools. I think the kids were being fed a lot about Darwinianism, and that they were higher order animals here by chance and circumstance. And a lot of the kids were acting like animals, and we shouldn't have been surprised, because we were teaching them that they were higher order animals.
So when you replace or remove the Bible from character education, what becomes the foundation for character ethics in a secular educational system?
Well, first of all, secular humanism is a religion as determined by the Supreme Court in 1961, and if you really take away Bible reading and Christianity from the schools, which is what they did, they replaced Christianity with secular humanism, and when you take that away, there is no basis for character education other than situational ethics.
What's the problem with situational ethics?
Well, it's arbitrary. It's arbitrary, and it changes from school to school and district to district, and who knows what the rules are going to be. But it's all situational. There's no really firm basis for character education.
Okay, and so where do you think this is all headed, briefly, to wrap up here?
Well, I don't think things are going to change. I don't think we're going to go back to Bible reading and prayer before games and prayer in the schools. That's just not going to happen. And I think as a result of that, you're going to have more and more problems in the schools, and the students are not going to have the character, which is what you need to have a viable society.
But how do we as Christian teachers in the public schools still, being restricted with that constraint, still exhibit and model character training in the schools?
Well, I think one of the things that you can emphasize are things that we all agree on, like, for example, respect for elders, respect for property, respect for one another in the classroom. I think these are all good things that you can emphasize. You could even put signs in front of the classroom, and that might be of some help. And there are things that we can all agree on as a group of educators in our school system, and I think that's maybe the way to go.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Vargo. We appreciate your time.
Have a good day. Thank you very much.